And we're live! Okay, January the 5th of 2019, doing a pair programming with Ciré again. We just merged the pull request from yesterday. Thank you so much, Ciré. That was great work. Also great double checking and everything. And also thank you, Faith, who is not here right now, but she was doing the groundwork. And I mean, she was, I would say, spending most of the time on this pull request because she implemented the rape task after all, right? But now you know what Ciré, now you know what a non-zero exit code is, I guess, and why it's so for our build server, right? Yeah. Cool. Now, I suggested you another stale pull request, which is also quite old. It's about spamming, like a spam check, a manual spam check. We try to use our community, our user base, and ask them for any user-generated content to check for spam. Or let's say check the validity of it, because maybe they put in text that is not related to any kind of broadcast, for example. Since the database should consist of broadcasts, people should just enter anything that is related to at least one broadcast, right? And I think this needs to be done with a human person. You cannot automate this. So I'm going to screen share, and first of all, I will show you the pull request on GitHub.
Okay.
And you said you don't have experience with Docker.
No.
So this is the pull request we're talking about. It's solving this issue here. Right, so Micah owner was submitting a feature request. Let's say a user creates a new broadcast. It would be nice to send some email notification or Slack or whatever and inform people a new broadcast was created. And I want to get a direct link, for example. Now, Faith, on October the 25th, she was sending us this pull request here. It's almost done, I think. And the solution now is to send email notifications. And what I want you to do now is to double check this PR again. Also merge in the latest master, so to get the new commits.
Yes.
And what's happening here is that we have now a way of testing email delivery.
Okay.
Yes, you can see it here. Okay, let's go to Mailhawk. We're using now a service called Mailhawk. It's implemented in Go, and it is inspired by Mailcatcher. And you can locally, start the service locally, and your application can connect with SMTP, that is Simple Mail Transfer Protocol, to the service, and try to deliver a mail. But instead of actually delivering it to the email address, you see a web interface in which you can see the emails that have been sent. Okay?
Okay. Yes.
And this is important. This is very helpful for development, because you don't want to send emails. You want to you just want to test if everything is working correctly, because you can more or less rely on if SMTP is correct, then all is good, because we have our SMTP server on production. All right?
Okay. Yeah.
Now, how does it work? You said you don't know Docker. Docker is an amazing service. It is a tool. It's a virtualization tool available for all important operating systems, Windows, Mac OS, and Linux. Ciré, what operating system are you on?
I'm on Mac OS.
Mac OS. So I think there's an installation for you for Mac OS. And if you do that, you should have two different tools available. So here's the website. I think you can click on this link here and get redirected to Docker for Mac. So I'm going to send you this link here. There you go. And it will install two applications. So you have the tool Docker, this one here, which is also available on the command line. And there's another one, there's a tool called Docker Compose. See this? Docker-Compose.
Yes.
So those two tools go together. Docker is the actual tool that you need for virtualization. Let's say you have a service, for example, Mailhog, that's responsible for email delivery. Then Docker can set up this application on your machine. Docker Compose is to use many different services together. Okay? So Docker, one service, Docker Compose, many services at a time.
Okay.
Does it make sense?
Yes, yes.
So why do we need Docker sometimes? We use it primarily to have a nicer setup with the dependencies. So if you go to our README, then you see our installation is twofold. We have our installation and usage with Docker, and there's also a local installation without Docker. If you want, you can edit this README and explicitly say local installation without Docker if you want to make it even more explicit, like even more clear. Does it make sense?
Yes, yes.
So both installations should work. In one installation, you make use of Docker. In the other installation, you set everything up by yourself.
Okay.
Right? So the local installation without Docker would require you to install Node, install the Ember.js, you need Ruby installed, you need a Redis and a Postgres database.
Okay.
So I think you have all of these dependencies.
Already, yeah.
Right? But just because it would be on Windows, and then it might be difficult to get your Ruby installed, or Redis, or Postgres. Okay? And that's where Docker comes in. So with Docker, you just have to say, you just clone the repository, and then you say Docker Compose up, and everything just works. All right? Why? So what's actually going on? I'm now on the master. I can say Docker Compose up. I can also, I will say build for now, this parameter is triggering a build. So magic happens. You probably have never seen this before, have you?
No.
Okay.
But so I think I can understand a bit of the magic which happening behind on the background. It's like a virtual machine with all this installation already done.
Yes, exactly. So Docker is like a virtual machine, but without the performance overhead.
Okay.
Right? So a virtual machine is consuming a lot of memory, a lot of computational resources, and that's not necessary with Docker. Docker installs a lightweight virtual machine, which is called a container.
Container, okay.
Right? You can see all containers if you say Docker PS. So there's currently one container running. I think it's installing the bundles now, or you say container ls. That's probably the same thing. I think they're synonyms.
Okay.
So you have container running on your machine, but there's no operating system. Like it's not a real virtual machine that's virtualizing everything. It's just one application, and it's lightweight, and it doesn't consume so many resources.
Okay.
And these virtual machines, or the files that get created with Docker, are called images. If you say Docker images, you see a cache on my local machine with all these images. And they have all their unique IDs that make them uniquely and identifiable.
Okay.
Right, I have for different applications, I have different images. Some of them have no name, but that doesn't matter. And they consume some disk space. Sometimes they are quite large. But nevertheless, the point here is it helps people to set up all the dependencies. You just need one dependency that is Docker, and then everything is in your hand. Okay? Since Docker is easily to install on Windows, Mac OS, and Linux, this is really an option for people to get a really quick setup.
Yeah.
So it is your task to understand the difference between Docker and Docker Compose. So I can tell you that Docker files refer to one container, and they are responsible to create one application, one container, one service, right? We have several Docker files, and this is like a script that needs to be run in order to install everything required for this particular application. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
So we start from a base image that is CentOS. That's a Linux distribution. Have you heard about CentOS?
Yeah. I have worked with it when I was interning as a network.
Yeah, we're using that image because our hoster is using CentOS. That's our hoster. And our hoster is using CentOS.
Okay.
There you go. So this is in German. It says, our hosting server, we run it with CentOS. So what we're trying to get here is like a sandbox which is as close as possible to the production environment.
Okay.
Yes? And Yum is the CentOS specific package manager. There we installed some development tools that we need, including Postgres. So here we set up the
database
that we need in order to connect with the database. It's not the database itself, but it's installing the client.
Okay.
We are also installing Ruby. We are building Ruby because we need a specific version of Ruby. So here you can see the next advantage of Docker, because you never have any version conflicts anymore.
Okay.
If you let people install Ruby, if you ask people to install Ruby, maybe they have outdated sources in their package manager, and they come up with different versions of Ruby, and that can be a cause of error.
Okay.
In the Docker file, we have one specific Ruby version, and that is it. Period. Okay?
Yes.
No more version problems. That is great. So every line here is creating a so-called layer, which is a cached piece of data, and it's like every layer is like almost like an image. And what you can see here when you say Docker Compose up, Docker Compose is like the master of Docker. You have many services, and each service is building another image. So this here happens when you run Docker build. It will build one Docker file, and this here are the respective lines. So here you can see that we are building the backend. First thing is we start with CentOS image. Then we install things, and we install more things, and we install more things. We create a Ruby folder and build Ruby, and then we have a working directory under /backend, and then we install other bundles, and so on and so on. You can see how it's installed, right?
Yes.
Does it make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Cool. And so we have different services, many services, and we have one Docker Compose. And this Docker Compose is controlling all the services. So we have our front end, which is built with Ember. There we have our back end. So this is a YAML file. This is the configuration file for Docker Compose. Okay. It's specifying the version. And then we go with services. And below services, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 services.
Okay.
This is like the minimum set that you need in order to have something up and running. You need the backend, you need the front end. The backend in turn needs the two databases, that is Postgres and Redis. Maybe this is a little bit the name is not very good because here we say Redis, which is a database, and here we just say DB, like database, which is Postgres. Maybe we should also call the service Postgres.
Postgres, okay.
You can do that if you want. If you change it, you have to change this here because this DB
depends on
corresponds with this service here, right?
Okay, okay.
You have the dependencies. So Docker Compose will then build all these images if necessary, or it takes the image from the internet. So the, for example, Postgres 9.6 is available on the web. So is Redis 3.2. But these here, they have their own Docker file, and you can find this Docker file here, build context backend. So if you go to backend, it will look for a particular file which is called Docker file. Can you see this?
Yes.
Here.
Hello. Hello, hello.
All right. Okay, I'm back. That was my network problem. Ciré, are you still with me? No. Ah, there you are. Okay.
Sorry, I get disconnected.
No, I got disconnected. That was me.
All right. Okay, cool.
So now, what was the last thing that you heard?
The image on the back end.
Yeah, so image on the back end is built in this Docker file here. Image on the front end is built in this Docker file. Here we have our node dependencies, and we run Ember and so on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, for the new branch, we are here. Git branch A. How about grab app notification? Send a broadcast. Send notification when broadcast is created. So there's a difference. The Docker Compose file now has more services. There's one service, Sidekick, which is doing a background jobs. Ruby is not good in asynchronicity. Everything in Ruby is done synchronously, so step by step. There's nothing happening in the background or in parallel or concurrent, right?
Okay.
And Sidekick is doing everything that needs more time. This is a background job.
It's Ruby or Rails?
Sidekick is also Ruby.
Okay. When you say Ruby is doing everything synchronously, I mean, it's a Ruby or Rails?
That's the programming language, Ruby.
Okay, Ruby. Okay.
Yeah, so you have threading, concurrency is not something that works perfectly in Ruby, but that's no problem because we have Sidekick, which is a different service, and you can send everything. It works like that. You send some data to Redis. The data is consumed by like a parallel process called Sidekick, and Sidekick is doing all the hard work.
Okay.
Right? It's doing background processing. And especially sending mails is taking some time. Right?
Okay.
You don't want to wait until an email is delivered. Let's say you click on a button and then you have to wait for like 10 seconds until the email has been processed. No, that's probably something that you don't need, especially it's not necessary to wait for the email, right?
Okay.
Okay, there's someone is ringing my bell. I will be back.
Okay, cool.
Hallo.
Magic.
Ich bin gerade noch am Militärprogramm, das heißt, ich beende das mal ganz kurz.
Ja, mach's
Okay, it's my girlfriend. But let's have some 5 minutes before I'm explaining my idea.
Cool.
So Ciré is doing the background processing. Now, it's also sending the mails. To see those mails, you need Mailhog. Do we have Mailhog in here already? Mailhog? No.
Okay.
No, I don't know why. There's Mailhog. Ah, yeah, now I see it. Okay, so there you can see that we have several Docker Compose files on the left side. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay, and if you just say Docker Compose up, then 2 files are read by default. That's like the base configuration. That's the override configuration. These 2 are read by default. Does it make sense?
Yes.
You can learn more about it. Docker Compose multiple Docker Compose files. So share compose configurations. This is how you do it. With the parameter -f, you can say file and read in as many configuration files as you want. So you can have, for example, 1 Docker Compose file and the Docker Compose override. Those 2 are read by default anyways. And then you can think that this goes on top of this here, right? So you have 3 services: web, DB, cache. Then this here is merged into this configuration as also ports and environment and inputs and so on.
Okay.
If you have other files like prod or whatever, then you have to specify it with -f as they do here. So apparently they're trying to explain we have a production configuration, this one here, and this should be merged with the base configuration. So my idea here is that if you have it in the override, you run, this is for development. And on development, you would start the Mailhog service. So when I say Docker Compose up, I think it will now pull down the Mailhog. Yes, it's pulling the Mailhog image from the web, all right? And then it's listening on port 8025. And if you create a new broadcast in the application, then there should be an email sent to this service. And then you should see it in this web interface.
Okay. Yes.
Where's the mail interface? So Mailhog is showing you a web interface, web interface. This is how it looks like. So this is a screenshot of the web interface. You can see 3 emails here.
Okay.
So what I want you to do is just double check if everything is still working correctly.
Okay.
You want that you send a broadcast and then the email should show up here.
Show up here. Okay.
Right? You create a broadcast if you go to, well, not on the website, but of course locally.
Yeah, on locally.
But you can find it if you click on Find Broadcast. Come on. Yes, Find Broadcast, and you search something that doesn't exist yet. And then you see a form which allows you to create broadcast. Well, I'm not logged in right now, but you can do that locally, and then you should be able to create a broadcast.
Yeah, I know the process.
Right. So, and if you say create, that should trigger an email notification. Is that clear?
Right, cool. Yeah, it's clear.
Yes. I would say this is it because it will take you some time to get used to Docker and Docker Compose.
Yeah.
Also to this new service called Mailhawk, and also the whole philosophy of using using services, right? It's not monolithic anymore. You have different services like microservices, and they are all set up differently, and they all use common interfaces. Like you simulate a network on your machine.
Yes.
Think of every service as a different computer. This network out there, which is there in production,
Okay.
is on your computer. You have your own virtual network on your machine, which is awesome, isn't it?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And yes, so I would say get used to Docker, make yourself a little bit familiar with it. There's tons of resources on the internet. If you have more questions, also feel free to ask me. I would suggest that you can. It's sometimes hard to distinguish between Docker, the tool Docker, and Docker Compose.
Okay.
Right? Many people start just with Docker, and then they switch over to Docker Compose to really understand how they both go with each other, how they both match.
Okay.
You can do that. Create your first Hello World Docker container. It doesn't have to be RFM. Just, for example, create a simple Python web server,
Okay.
or Sinatra or something.
Okay. I will.
Do you have questions so far?
No, I think it's good. I will manage it.
Yeah, it's probably a lot of things being asked here at once, right? You have to learn so many different things at a time.
No, but I think I can understand it quickly because I have some background on virtualizations and those kind of things. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big topic. Virtualization is huge. There's so much to learn. And there's so many use cases for it, right? So we use it for development and for onboarding people, but you can use it in production, and you can also use it on the test server. In another project, we're using Docker for testing things also.
Okay.
So there are a lot of different workflows. It's a whole new philosophy, a whole new world.
Yeah.
Change your life. And your head might explode.
Yeah, that's it.
I would say this is it for now. Also, I have my girlfriend here, and we want to go out for a walk and get some light. It's getting dark here in Germany. Sunset is about in 30 minutes, so we'll probably get our how do you say it?
Hoodies,
anoraks, pulleys and sweaters and so on, and get out and see some sunlight now. Oh, and there's Joseph. Oh, Joseph, I'm so sorry. I was about to leave.
Huh?
Yeah, I was about to leave, but maybe you two can pair together. You can continue on. I was explaining how Docker and Docker Compose works for Ciré, for the use case of having a mail delivery service using Rundfunk as a service.
Yeah, I think I joined the wrong call. I was supposed to join the human connection.
No. This is RFM.
Oh, yeah.
But you can also work with Ciré. I mean, you're also very familiar with RFM by now.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think we can join the human connection because Matt is waiting for me there.
Okay. So yeah, just do whatever you like. But I'm going to leave now.
Yeah. See you.
All right. Goodbye, Ciré. It was a pleasure to meet you.
Yes, a pleasure for me also.
All right.
Bye. Thank you.
You're welcome.